You don't need to track every single calorie or weigh out every single gram of food for you to get lean and drop body fat. Right guys, welcome back to episode 3 of the 6-part mini series on how to drop 20 pounds of body fat and build lean muscle so you can feel more confident in your clothes. Today, I'm gonna talk to you about a system I use called the hand portion method, where you can get leaner, drop fat without having to weigh every little bit of your food and track every single calorie through MyFitnessPal. MyFitnessPal has been around for years. I remember first using it back in 2012, 2013, and it's revolutionary because it allowed you to track your calories, it allowed you to flexibly eat so you could eat out and still get leaner. But the problem with MyFitnessPal is you're having to track every little bit of food that you eat. Now, I don't think MyFitnessPal is necessarily a bad thing, but I think it's important to have other tools in your toolbox so you can still maintain your results or get even leaner without having to use MyFitnessPal. Because otherwise, you're gonna have to track calories for the rest of your life just to maintain your results or just to get a little bit leaner. Now, if you're anything like me, you don't wanna do that because I don't wanna track my calories for the rest of my life. And that's where I came up with a system called the hand portion method, where you can still look good and feel good, but without having to be really precise with every bit of food that you eat. Now, I've used MyFitnessPal loads of times in the past. For example, when I was doing my bodybuilding shows or when I was doing like a diet for holiday, and it's really good for that. But the thing is, as I got older and as I opened the gym, as my client base grew, and as me and Chloe bought our own house and now we're having a baby, I don't want to be tracking calories all the time. I haven't tracked a single calorie for over a year, and I've managed to stay in fantastic shape by just using the system called the hand portion method. And this is the exact system I used last year for me to drop 20 pounds of body fat when I decided to do a 12-week cut. I've also used it on other clients here, like Steve, who also dropped 20 pounds in 12 weeks. He didn't track a single calorie. He ate out on the weekend, he ate out with his girlfriend, and he still managed to get in shape without having to weigh out every bit of food. The thing is, even though I've got a family and even though I've got a gym and I'm focused on serving my clients, it's still really important to me to look good and feel good, because I just think when you're happy with your body, you can wear clothes and feel confident, and you can be proud of how you're showing up on a day-to-day basis because you know you're looking after yourself. But I'm not prepared to eat 6 meals per day out of a Tupperware box or track every single calorie through MyFitnessPal. This is where the hand portion method comes into play. So today I'm gonna show you the exact food you need to be eating, how much you should be eating, all without weighing scales, MyFitnessPal, and all you need is one hand. So step number 1 is you want to determine how many meals you're going to eat per day. I recommend anywhere from 3 to 4 meals every single day. And you can class protein shakes as a meal, by the way. The reason I say 3 to 4 is that will give you enough meals to hit your protein target, but also just get an even spread of protein throughout the day so you're constantly building muscle. So just pick 3 to 4 meals a day, and then once you've done that, I advise trying to set up some sort of time schedule so you know what times you'll be eating the meals. So step number 2 is you want to have a list of priorities on how you're going to build your meals. What I mean by that is, what are you going to put in each meal that you have? So I would say the number 1 priority is making sure you've got protein in every single meal. Protein is really important for building muscle, keeping you fuller for longer so you don't cheat on your diet. So with each meal, prioritize protein first. So if you look on the screen here, you're going to see a table. All the foods in that table are foods that are really high in protein. So there's loads of different options. All you need to do is pick one of them foods with each meal. Here's the next step. This is where the hand method comes into place. Once you've picked one of these foods, you're going to have 2 palm sizes of any of the foods with each meal. So let's say, for example, you have chicken breast, you're gonna have 2 palm sizes of chicken breast. Let's say, for example, you're gonna have the 5% beef mince, you're gonna have 2 palm sizes of 5% beef mince. The reason why this works really well, the hand method, is because your hand size is usually directly correlated to how big you are as a person. So let's say you're a guy who weighs 14 stone, typically your hands are gonna be bigger than, let's say, a woman who's 5 foot and only weighs, let's say, 10 stone. So a bigger person always needs more protein than a smaller person. So the bigger you are, the bigger your palms will be and the more protein you'll be eating because you're having a bigger portion size. So that's why it works so accurately. So step number 3, now you've picked a protein to go with every single meal, you're now gonna pick a carb. So look at the table here. I'll give you some recommendations. All you're going to do is pick one of these carbs to go with your protein, as simple as that. So it could be pasta, it could be rice, it could be potatoes, it could be porridge for breakfast. So this is where you're gonna use your hand as a measuring guide guide again. So with your carbs, you're going to have a cupped handful. So pick any of them and just have one cupped handful out of this table to go with the protein that you've chosen. So step number 4, you're gonna pick any fruit or veg to go alongside your protein and carb. And it can be any veg that you want, any fruit that you want. And what you're going to do is have 1 to 2 fistfuls of any fruit or veg. So it could be, let's say, 2 fistfuls of broccoli. It could be 1 fistful of broccoli and 1 fistful of carrots. It could be 2 fistfuls of blueberries if you're having it with porridge. Pick any fruit and veg, 1 to 2 fistfuls to put alongside the protein and carb. Step number 5, look at the table here. You're gonna pick 1 fat source from any of these foods to add into your meals. And all you're gonna have is 1 thumb size. If you're wondering why it's only a thumb size compared to either a palmful or cupped palm, it's because fats are a lot more calorie dense per gram compared to protein or carbs. So it's really easy to overeat on fat and eat too many calories and then come out of your calorie deficit. But by having 1 thumb size, what it allows you to do is add some fats into your meal, make it a little bit tasty, but not overdo it. So for example, 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil is about 100 calories, as 1 tablespoon of, let's say, chicken or pasta, a protein or carb, is like, I don't know, maybe 10 calories, 20 calories. So fats are a lot more calorie dense. That's why the thumb size works really well, because it's naturally smaller than a palm size or cupped handful. So if you want to add seasoning to your food, things like garlic, onions, salt, pepper, low calorie Nando sauce, low calorie ketchup, all totally fine to use if you want to use any of that in your food. You can also buy things like, I can't remember the name of them now. It's like 0 calorie mayonnaise, or there's like sour cream sauces that you can buy from certain websites where they taste pretty decent, to be fair, and there's barely any calories. So if you want to add any of that stuff into your food, that's also okay to add. So let me explain why the hand portion method works really well. So first of all, the foods that you're typically picking are minimally processed. What I mean by minimally processed is there's not loads of ingredients that go into it. It's literally chicken breast, pasta, potatoes, beef, eggs. All these foods are naturally lower in calories compared to foods that are highly processed. Foods that are highly processed have a ton of ingredients, but that's why they taste so good, because there's so many things in there, but they're usually very high in calories. So when you eat a diet that's, I would say, the majority minimally processed, but then also following like a measuring guide like your hand, naturally you're gonna eat lower calories as just a default, and that's why it allows you to get leaner. Now you might be thinking, yeah, but Christian, I'm gonna eat more foods than what's on that list there, or I might be going out on a Saturday night. Don't worry, because I ate out every single Saturday when I did the cut last year. Look at the picture here. I ate out every single Saturday. I had some sort of takeaway and I still lost 20 pounds. This is how you go about it. So let's say you're going to eat out on a Saturday night. What you want to do on that Saturday is the following. So for your breakfast, lunch, and let's say mid-afternoon, you want to make sure you've hit your protein target before you go out in the evening time. So your protein target has been boxed off and you don't have to worry about how eating less protein and it affecting your muscle growth and stuff like that. But you want to reduce your carbs and your fats in all of them meals, so you naturally save more calories for that evening meal. So the way you could go about this is, for breakfast, you could have something like, let's say, 2 scoops of protein, a protein shake, double scoop protein shake, and let's say a handful of blueberries. And then for your lunch, you can have a large chicken breast with some vegetables and salad. And then mid-afternoon, you could have another protein shake, maybe with some strawberries. So what you've done there is get a decent amount of protein in between morning and mid-afternoon. You reduce your carbs and fats, and you've naturally lowered your calories. So by the time it comes to your evening meal, you can go out and you've got naturally a bigger allocation for you to eat whatever you want in that evening meal and still make progress. What I suggest is, if you don't hit your protein target in them 3 meals, try and have something protein-based when you go out for the evening meal, whether that's a steak, whether that's some chicken or fish. Try and get some protein in, but you've already hit it before then, just get whatever you want. But there's got to be some constraints around this. You can have a meal, let's say, quote unquote, off plan, and still make progress. But where people go wrong is they'll have the meal, but then because they get a taste for it, they then go home, they eat more junk, they eat more chocolate, crisps, or maybe have a couple of glasses of wine. That's where your calories quickly ramp up. So the way I would think about this is, Go out and enjoy the meal of what you're gonna have, but make sure it's just the one meal. So you just have the one meal, but then you go back to normal schedule as soon as that one meal finishes and it doesn't turn into a weekend of binging or loads of meals afterwards. And then the following day, just resume as normal with the hand portion method. Pick your foods out of the tables, create your meals, and you will lose weight if you carry on doing that. So guys, that is the end of the episode. If you did enjoy it, drop us a like, drop us a comment and subscribe. In the next video, I'm gonna be going over something called the weekend proof meal method, where I'll be teaching you how to eat out on the weekend and have a few drinks without derailing all of the progress you made during the week. I'll see you in the next video.